Finally, a weekend where I can talk about quite a bit of the Championship because a fair amount has happened. I'm not going to talk about the midweek so much, it was a bit of a lull, but the great thing is there is plenty to talk about for the weekend. So please guys, give a like to this video before we even get going today because that's what people on this platform say. So we're going to start with Swansea versus Stoke. Swansea obviously going into this weekend top of the table, going against Stoke who were bottom of the table going into it. Stoke had to actually travel as well to visit Swansea. You couldn't get a bigger contrast of a match going into this. I think it'll have thrown a lot of people's predictions off because it seemed like Stoke couldn't buy a win at the minute and the pressure has really been mounting on Nathan Jones. And you've got to sort of feel for them when you've got to come up against someone like Andre Ayew who gets an early goal so it doesn't look like it's going to go the way for Stoke again. But somehow they equalise and then Scott Hogan's heroics coming towards the end of it end up pulling out a miraculous win, to be honest. I think everybody's bets just were off at that point and there'll have been a lot of unhappy football fans. But Stoke fans, I can imagine it was quite a different feeling for you, euphoria. But is it really? Is it really a positive? Is Nathan Jones the man for you? That's what I want to ask Stoke fans this episode. Do you feel he can turn it around? Yes, it's a very, very good 3 points away from home. But has the start of the season shown all he could really do? And has his fate already been written? Is the writing on the wall for Nathan Jones? Has he got it in him to turn around Stoke's season? What do you guys think? I just think Swansea, in this regard, should have been capitalising on him. But that is the Championship, guys. We've been saying it all along. Stoke should be doing better than they are. Swansea are doing well when I didn't think Swansea would this season. It's one of those interesting things about the Championship that we face all the time. Good 3 points for Stoke. Swansea will be disappointed, but it's very tight up there at the top. And Stoke, if you go on a run now, you might just turn it around. You never know. Okay, next up I'm going to talk about Preston. Obviously, they have beaten Barnsley 5-1. But Preston are something else at the minute. They are that Championship team that I never think are going to do amazingly well, but I'm always going to think they're going to be up there. They're a really, really tough team to play against. Even players like within the Wednesday squad, Sam Hutchinson says, Deepdale is not a place you want to visit. Barnsley are always going to have it difficult going to Preston. It is not a good place to go. I wasn't expecting 5-1. I was expecting a comfortable win, but 5-1 is obviously one of the big hitters we've had so far in the Championship. And Preston look like they could be real challengers this season, and it doesn't help Barnsley, who are going to struggle to survive as it is. I think Barnsley are in real trouble. They always knew they were probably going to be in trouble, even though you've got the sort of positivity coming off of a promotion. Preston are a team that can hurt you. Away from home, they can be, they're very beatable, but Deepdale isn't a nice place to go, and I think Preston are going to make that top 6 this season now. They're definitely going to be one of the ones that's challenging for it, and the Championship's wide open, so if it was ever going to be a season where Preston could get into it, if they keep their home form, if they keep going the way they've been going this season, I can see them up there at the end of the season, and I don't think it's going to get any better for Barnsley as we start to see the season shaping up a little bit in these early stages. So there's no more Neil Harris at Millwall and going to Leeds. That sometimes can be a good thing. It can sometimes be a very bad thing. Obviously, no managerial influence, really. Well, there always is. There's the caretakers and things like that. But there's no permanent manager for Millwall at the minute. It didn't matter, though. They managed to beat Leeds. The Den is not a nice place to go. It's another one of those grounds that we've dropped points at. We actually lost at the Den this season. And I've said it's never a nice place to go. Millwall, they don't play the best football, not gonna lie, but they can get points, they can graft out results, and beating Leeds, who a lot of people are still thinking are going to finish top 2, I can't really argue with that. They might struggle with the competition in the Championship this season. It is one of the best leagues, if not the best, to look at the minute in terms of competitive matches. Penalty and a goal just before half-time were enough to see Millwall see out Leeds, win 2-1 at home. They could have been on at the end, Leeds. They could have got their way back into it, but they did hold out Millwall, and it's a very good result for them. It's Millwall's first win in 9 matches as well, so it's actually something they definitely needed, and beating Leeds, you can't really go wrong with that. Fulham versus Charlton was one I was very excited for, and it didn't really disappoint, because Charlton, I've said it in every chat the Championship, they are the underestimated team at the minute. They are playing out of their skin. They're overperforming. They're overachieving. And Fulham, obviously one of the sides that everybody's expecting to do really well, this was going to be a good match. I would say Charlton very much could have won that match, as much as Fulham could have. And that is showing the competitive nature we have got in the Championship at the minute. Fulham's players are ridiculous. Mitrovic is a player. You've got absolute quality within that squad, so they were always going to be up against it. But the fact that Charlton can go away to Fulham and get a 2-2 draw, it just shows if they keep this going, there is a playoff spot with their name on it if they keep grafting these results out like this. Because they could have been good for it, they could have got the 3 points. But from what I've seen, it was a very balanced game. Surely, Fulham, Charlton fans, if you're going to have different opinions on that. From where I'm sitting, 2-2 is fair, and Charlton are really good for it this season. Fulham are definitely going to finish up there. They have just got too much quality not to now. And they actually are showing that the relegation isn't going to affect them too much. They are going to do something. They are only joint on points with us, though. To be fair, I expect us to be up there too. So, unbeaten in 5 matches, it's a good way to keep going. Next up, I'm going to look at the Wednesday Wigan match. It should have been a lot more comfortable than it was, but Wigan came. They never looked like they were going to give us a game. They never actually seemed to want it. The fact that you're 1-0 down towards the end and you're time wasting just to keep it at 1-0. What? Is it goal difference already, boys? Obviously, we're coming off a loss, a really shock loss at Hull. The players just didn't seem up for it in midweek. It was one of those very lethargic midweek Championship performances. I'm sad to see that we're still having those even under Gary Monk, but this was the perfect bounce back. Should have been a little bit more convincing. Let's have a look at this, shall we? This is not offside. Stephen Fletcher is not offside when he scores the second. Even Wigan fans on Twitter were saying that we should have been 2-0 down because it was blatant. The refereeing in this league is ridiculous, but I don't think I want VAR, so I'm kind of torn on this whole thing. But Wednesday keep getting hit by stuff like this. Luckily, in this situation, it didn't matter. We still got the 3 points, we got the win, but it should have been more comfortable than it was, and if the officials actually did their job, we'd have been 2-0 up, and it would have been more comfortable. But it's a win, I'll take it. Gary Monk's start has been very positive. We are 8th in the league, 19 points, 3 points off top. I can't ask for any more. Well, I could, but I'm not going to after the fiasco we had with Steve Bruce. I'm not going to go into the details about Birmingham versus Middlesbrough. It would be a shock result that I'd feature if Middlesbrough weren't one of those teams that I think are actually there for the taking now. They have got weaknesses. So, well done Birmingham, but I'm not going to delve into it in this episode. Instead, I'm just going to look at the fact that we can now get the fanfare out. Drum roll. They did it! Huddersfield won a game! They actually did it! And they actually scored more than 1 goal, more than 2 goals. They got a 3-0 win. Do you know the fact that it's so farcical just shows the season and the start they have had and the downswing of a Premier League club. Forestieri's fun bus seems quite a while ago now, doesn't it, guys? But I like Danny Cowley. I like the job he's done at Lincoln. I don't think Huddersfield was the right move for him now, looking back at everything and looking at the state they're in and the start even he's had with them. But this obviously actually follows on from them winning in midweek as well. I won't discredit you. You beat Stoke, the only other team with 2 points at the time. So I think these fixtures came well for them. Back-to-back wins, which they haven't done since like April, is really good for them. They might just survive. They're going to still be in for a struggle, though, because they have got much better teams than Hull and Stoke to play throughout the rest of the season. I don't know if it's enough to save Huddersfield. I don't know. What Huddersfield fans, what are you feeling? Do you feel like you can actually do it now? Can you stay up? You shouldn't really be looking towards League One at all, should you? But the fact that you're looking at that end of the table rather than looking at the people above you. I spoke to some Huddersfield fans and they were like, the fact that I'm actually looking at the teams at the bottom now for their results already. It's not a good sign, really. That is it for this section of Chat the Championship this week, guys. Obviously, if you want one of your stories in those sections, if you'd like me to focus on some things, tweet at me at dexteritybox. All your opinions and things, I will factor them in to Chat the Championship. If there's anything you'd like me to look at specifically, make sure you're tweeting me and I can include your thoughts, your opinions in the next Chat the Championship. Okay, it's time for the score prediction league part of the episode. We are going to look at the results from midweek. As I said now, guys, we can get midweek results if you drop them in the comments, as well as the weekend results, and it's going to be nice going into an international break. We've got 2 new entries for the score prediction league this week. The first one is Iron Chest HD Fitzgerald. What a name. Predicted a Hull loss to Wednesday when Hull beat Wednesday, so that is an incorrect prediction there. We had... Oh, these are not in the order that I write them in. Okay, I'm going to have to use my actual eyes and my brain. Okay, so Wigan. Yeah, so Birmingham actually lost to Wigan, and he had Birmingham beating them 2-0. Luton, he thought we're going to lose to West Brom 3-0. He actually, I realised this was confusing my brain for a second. He put Luton losing to West Brom 3-0, but I think it was a typo. He meant Leeds. Leeds actually beat West Brom in the midweek, so that's another incorrect one there. And Forest beating Blackburn. That didn't happen either. That was a draw. It was quite a difficult one in the midweek, to be fair. It was quite a lull, as I was saying earlier. Preston beating Middlesbrough. Didn't happen again. Oh, mate. It's a 1-1 draw there. Huddersfield drawing with Stoke. Even Huddersfield let you down. Brutal. Cardiff QPR 2-0. Cardiff beat QPR 3-0. Luton 2-1 over Millwall. Millwall managed to get a draw there. Derby beating Barnsley. Did that happen? Come on, that had to happen. No, it was a 2-2 draw. And Brentford over Bristol. That was a draw as well. My friend, we didn't get any correct ones there. I appreciate you entering the Championship League, though. You're actually the only one that remembered for the midweek, so can I just say, special badge of honour. And I don't check these until afterwards, by the way, guys, so I will literally screenshot them so you can't change them, and then I will look at them later on. So I don't actually know until I do these how well people are doing. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have put this one in. But I've recorded it now. You're on the league. You have got my seal of approval, my friend. Okay, now we go into the weekend ones. I'm praying this next one is a little bit better. We have got Chaz Batty joining in this week. And the first prediction there is Fulham 2-0 Charlton. Thank God. That's a perfect prediction. That's exactly what happened. Forest 2-1 at Brentford. Forest beat Brentford, but it wasn't 2-1, so it's still a correct one, just not an exact. West Brom Cardiff 1-0. West Brom beat Cardiff 4-2 in the end. Preston 2-0 over Barnsley. It was 5-1, obviously. A really good result for Preston there. Correct result, not the actual score, though. Swansea beating Stoke 3-0. I'd have thought it too, but Stoke obviously got that miraculous 2-1 win. QPR beating Blackburn. They actually beat them 4-2 in the end, but that is a correct prediction there. Wednesday beating Wigan 2-0. Should have been. Didn't end up happening that way, but we did get the win there, so that is a good prediction. Correct one there. Bristol beating Reading 2-1. They beat them 1-0, so that's a correct one there. Leeds beating Millwall. I would have thought that too, but Millwall, with Leeds getting the red card and everything, that was a 2-1 win for Millwall. Huddersfield drawing with Hull. I wouldn't have put my money on Huddersfield either, but Huddersfield have kicked on. They got the 3-0 win there. And Derby beating Luton 2-1. Luton didn't actually get a goal, and they won 2-0 Derby did there. So they are some decent predictions. So here's how the Championship Score Prediction League looks at the end of this week's episode. If you'd like to be involved, guys, obviously drop all your score predictions in the comments. The best way to get featured, however, is in the community tab for my subscribers, so make sure you are subscribing if you haven't subscribed, and that way when I post the templates you know exactly what we're doing and you can get your score predictions in there. Thank you so much for everybody who enters every week. Obviously it's going to be a brand new entry every week. The more you comment your predictions, the more chance you've got, because I'll keep an eye on all of that. But for now, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, do all those things, and keep watching right here on Dexteritybox.